Hey, it's Chris and welcome to another one of our classes in this Yoga for Resilience series. Today we are looking at mindfulness. It's a mindfulness day, and in our last mindfulness class we looked at how busy our minds were. So if you remember, we were just sitting here observing just how many thoughts come and go and just how much there is going on inside our brains. So that was kind of looking at the frequency of the traffic. Now we're going to look at a bit about what's in it. We're going to look at the content. And that's important because we often judge ourselves. So let's get going with this, and I'll talk a bit more about what we're doing as we go. So hopefully you found somewhere comfortable to be, to sit, to lie, to stand, however you want to be. And I'm just going to start by sitting comfortably. Get my spine nice and tall, finding somewhere comfortable to sit, and just start by tuning into our breath. And just taking a moment just to allow ourselves to arrive into the practice. Yoga teachers always say that. What does that mean? Well, we come in from such busy lives and we're thinking about all the other things, and it sometimes just takes a moment for us to say, okay, I'm doing this now. This is the thing that's going to get my focus. I'm not going to worry about the outside world for the next hour because I'm doing this. So we're just bringing our attention to our breath, tuning into our bodies, tuning into the sensations, tuning out the outside world. And again today we're just gonna pay attention to our thoughts. We're not going to go looking for them, but we're just going to sit here quietly and see what comes in. And what we're looking for today is, last time we were looking at just how many thoughts came in, but today I want to look at what exactly are those thoughts, because a lot of the time we tend to judge ourselves. So we have the thought, oh, I haven't done that, I need to remember to do that, or I need to do this other thing, or I need to spend more time practicing that, or maybe the thought is, I'm distracted again, I'm not very good at this, I'm never going to get good at mindfulness. And all of these thoughts have something in common, which is that we're judging ourselves. And it's important to notice that, because a judgment isn't the truth. Like it might be the truth, but it isn't necessarily. It isn't kind of a direct observation. It's our interpretation. So when we think, I'm never going to be good at mindfulness, well, we don't know that until we've tried. It might just take more practice. We might be better than we think already. We don't know. It's a judgment our mind is making rather than a fact. If nothing's coming up for you here, then you could always just have a think about the future, like maybe the next week, things that you do are on your mind, are on your to-do list. But I don't want you to let yourself get carried away, so maybe you think, you're thinking about the next week and you're thinking about that project you have to get back to at work. And just notice what you're thinking about the project. Is it causing anxiety in you? Is it causing excitement? Are you thinking, oh, I'm not going to get it done? Are you feeling pride that it's going to be easy? Just noticing that emotional content that comes with the thought. And the reason that it's impossible for us to have this awareness as to what's going on and how we're thinking is that if we do have this kind of negative bias of, oh, things just aren't going to go well, this is too hard, I can't do this, that's really going to erode our hope and our confidence in our own abilities. And that's key, because if we do want to be resilient, if we do want to be able to stand up and overcome challenges, which we probably all want to do if we're undertaking this Yoga for Resilience series, then we need to challenge this kind of negative thinking. And the first step in being able to challenge is just to bring some awareness. If we think, oh, I'm just never going to be able to do this, but we don't even notice that that's a negative thought, then we can't do anything about it. Whereas when we start to notice this kind of negative bias inside ourselves, we can decide to do something different. We can diffuse that negative emotion by noticing it, and then we can consciously choose to have more confidence in ourselves. So again, just noticing those thoughts. You don't need to challenge them at this point. I just want you to bring some awareness to the fact that we probably all judge ourselves more than we notice. And maybe you're there thinking, well, but it's true actually. I can't. I've tried these things before and it hasn't worked, and I judge myself as a failure because I failed so many times, and there's good evidence there that I'm actually a failure. And if you are thinking that, then again, I want to bring some challenge to that one of the key things that allows us to succeed is self-efficacy, is our belief that we can do something. And so if we're currently experiencing a lot of negative interpretation, then that's going to affect our success rate. So if we haven't been as successful as we want in the past, I'm not saying it's all a mindset thing. There are very real barriers out there. But if we assume that we're going to fail, that is going to contribute to a lack of success for us. And if we can start bringing some awareness to that and how that might be impacting our beliefs about what we can do and what we can't do, then that in itself will help improve that. And also there's a good question about interpretation there, right? If someone comes to me and says, oh, I've tried 100 things and they've all failed, so I'm a failure. That isn't what I see in someone. I see someone who, even if things aren't working out, like, that's a person who's tried and failed 99 times and still has the energy, still has the perseverance, still has the bravery to get up and try again. And that sounds like an incredibly strong, resourceful person to me. Now, you may choose to interpret it differently. We can all choose that. But the first thing we need to do, of course, is notice how we're interpreting it. Notice that self-judgment, so that we can open our minds up to different ways of interpreting it, rather than just accepting our first interpretation as fact. As we bring this practice to a close, just bring your attention back to the breath, or back to the ground underneath you, back into the room. Bring some awareness to where you are. Gently blink the eyes open. If you've had them closed, then just take a moment before you get up and return to the business of real life.